together we'll be addressing a common concern, a world that is truly broken and fractured in a great many ways, and looking for ways in which these fractures can be at least narrowed or plastered over by human agency and human activity.
The world has become too complex for simple answers and solutions. A cast is still enough for fixing a broken leg, but not for fixing a fractured world. Once, think big was a business strategy. Today, it's the only way to get out of a global geopolitical landscape that is marked by escalating tensions and rivalries. Welcome to the 11th Global Baku Forum, Fixing the Fractured World.
The world is changing rapidly. Unfortunately, new areas of instability and confrontation emerge. Therefore, experience of members of Nizami Ganjavi International Center and participants, their knowledge, their experience as heads of states, governments and foreign ministers really is something which the world needs today in order to address issues of global importance.
In this 11th edition of the Global Baku Forum, we are addressing not just the issues of war and peace, but also looking at issues from health and the pandemic to climate change and justice, so that this is a very rich menu with very many eminent people participating.
We are all here to listen and learn and to discuss and agree on the fundamentals. And the fundamentals is how to enhance our multilateral system, how to improve the way the United Nations delivers, and how to contribute to the key moments in 2024.
And today's topic is fixing the fractured world, and I would like to provide Azerbaijan's views with regard to how we can fix it. And here, it's always better to come with your own experience and from your own region, how we try to fix our fractured or fragmented world in the region of the South Caucasus. Since the early 90s, and the region of the South Caucasus has been fragmented. But for us, we have fixed all of its elements, in a sense, in our concept of the fixing the fractured world and putting an end to all of its fragmentations based on a foreign military occupation of Azerbaijan's territories and ending all of its components. As a result of which, what we have today in the region of the South Caucasus. Last 6 months can be considered one of the most calmest period in the history of Armenia-Azerbaijan relations.
The whole UN family will be present at the Baku Global Forum. It's very rare that all heads and then leadership of all the major UN agencies would find themselves in just one single space. Usually it happens at the big summits, and apparently already Baku Forum became something like that when it comes to its convening power. And with that in mind, there will be a special role that Center will play in shaping up and participating in the global summit, indeed, in New York. And we're closely working with the Secretary General of the UN in this direction.
When present, peace is the great enabler of a bright future. But when absent, it becomes the great destroyer of dreams and aspirations, and, unfortunate though it is, goodwill.
We are working with the UN agencies, we are working with the different institutions all around the world. We are a forum which is a kind of interlocutor between different continents, different cultures, and which is good. Not many forums are able to be kind of interlocutor.
The need for international cooperation is more important than ever, based on a shared commitment to multilateralism, solidarity, and equity.
The famous German poet Bertolt Brecht once said, "First comes the eating, then the morale. So hunger and poverty are still bigger threats for millions of people than climate change. Today's bread is more important for them than sustainable economy tomorrow. But hunger and climate change will become more and more two sides of the same medal. Let's talk about priorities. Welcome to the panel, Financing Our Survival, Climate Justice.
We have so many problems. We need to have priorities. We need to have a focus.
We are lacking strategic planning in the General Assembly. If a pivotal part of this organization is having 200 plus priorities for a year, it means in crisis time we have no priority.
For me, it's only one priority. The main priority is peace. And I think from Baku, how to fix the world through political dialogue, political negotiation in order to achieve peace and to put an end to wars and conflict and crisis. It's not an utopian idea, but I think that is the art of diplomacy.
First of all, how to find a solution for current conflicts, but at the same time, to prevent new conflicts as a priority for all of us.
Some years ago, the biggest problem was not the peace, but prosperity. Today, peace is jeopardized. So today, priority number one is how to create, how to protect, and how to make a peace where peace is jeopardized. The next priority is security and hope. Hope about a better future.
Where I come from, the word hope is a name, Subi, because hope is what leads to action. I am hopeful that a forum like this one can make a difference and refresh our multilateral system to offer solutions for our broken world.
Hope is something which is needed in the world. And thank you, NGIC, and your leadership, that you are stretching it. And we feel that hope is possible. It is inevitable.
So the prioritizing is important, but even more important is to mobilizing as more stakeholders in that debate, in that movement, in that mobilization, in that action.
We don't have to worry about prioritizing. We have to do everything all at once, and support people are doing that. So we can't fix climate change unless we fix the global financial system.
I never could see the world so hectic in all domains, and including in my own domain, economy and finance. I have to say that the fragility of the world seems to me higher than before any time I had observed it, including immediately before the crisis of Lehman Brothers.
The sentiment of the Secretary General is that there is need for fundamental reform of the international financial architecture to render it more capable of serving the real economy, equitably serving the interests of developing and developed nations.
Financing remains really the key enabler or paralyzer of collective action. And that is why the COP here in Azerbaijan later this year is so critical, because if we do not advance on this collective quantified goal, then indeed we will probably undermine the confidence in the NDCs being developed in an ambitious way.
What is the advice of a psychologist to a hurdler? Try not to fall over the hurdle? No, never. The advice is, imagine yourself reaching the goal as quickly and safely as possible. So the task is, imagine yourself making COP29 a big success for global environmental policy. Welcome to the panel, Good Words to Good Deeds. What objectives can be set for COP29?
COP29 is the crescendo of a series of COP meetings, and this is then Azerbaijan's chance to show the world climate leadership. And this panel is designed to facilitate that discussion.
Two headlines. Every COP counts. This hopefully will be the COP of peace and accountability, and a balance between continuity and legacy.
I hope that during COP29, people, our leaders, will come to COP29 and announce that their priority is not to win the war, but to win the battle of climate change.
Climate change has become a threat to national security everywhere. Can we now transform it into a development opportunity everywhere? And this is why in UNDP we have made a commitment larger than ever before, support 125 countries to get climate change into their national development as an opportunity, and that's what we're working on.
Excellent. It's a point of no return, and this is then Azerbaijan's chance to really show the world leadership. The right time, the right place, the right partners. Azerbaijan is steeped in oil and gas, but steeped in a commitment to develop huge renewable resources. So the key is how we take action.
COP29 in Azerbaijan is a recognition of Azerbaijan's efforts with respect to green transition. The fact that we have oil and gas is not our fault. It is our intention to contribute to the issue of climate. And all what we are doing with respect to green transition already has its practical results.
So I'm very happy that the Baku Forum is the perfect platform to harvest collective intelligence, knowledge, analysis that is expected to feed into the Summit of the Future, to inform the negotiations of the Pact of the Future, but also to inspire and inform COP29 that is going to be held here in Baku, Azerbaijan.
COVID-19 seems to be over, and it really wasn't a game. But the old football rule applies. After the game is before the game, and after the pandemic is before the pandemic.
The key issue now is whether we will learn the mistakes the pandemic has taught us. Because the next pandemic is not a matter of if, but when. That's why all 194 member states are now negotiating a legally binding agreement on pandemic prevention, preparedness and response to provide the basis for international cooperation that was so sadly lacking during this pandemic.
Welcome to the panel, Health for All.
In international financing, only 2% is dedicated to non-communicable diseases, which include heart diseases, diabetes, and cancer. So basically, there is no financial support for non-communicable diseases. The place where you are born decides on how long you will live. This is, for me, the injustice.
The inequalities and the gap gets bigger. So we have inequalities between those that have and do not have. We have inequalities between rich and poor, global south and north. Unless we target SDG 10, which is reducing inequalities, we won't go anywhere. We need really to stress it.
Today, the Global Baku Forum is a place for all the continents to come together. That's the only institution I see where, for example, after the war in Gaza, you have Minister of Foreign Affairs of Israel and a leader of the Arab League debating peacefully with arguments about what went wrong and how we can fix the problems.
It is not a question, a confrontation or war between Israel or the Israeli army and Hamas. The issue is about the rights of the Palestinian to a state, with the rights of Israel to be met too. We're not against that, but to give Israel everything and give the Palestinian zero, I don't think anybody would accept that they would be repeated.
But Hamas is not fighting for the creation of a Palestinian state. It doesn't support the idea of two states between the river and the sea. When they are chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, it's instead of the State of Israel and the existence of the State of Israel, mainly me and my family.
So one thing that we have to do if we want to fix a fractured world is hear all of our voices, be in a safe place to do so. That's what the Global Baku Forum is all about, and hear everybody's voice to really create a more just and peaceful world.
We all believe that we have to listen to the experience and wisdom of the elder generation, but in the same time we have to listen to the voices of the young generation. Otherwise, we are going to have a huge gap.
The young leaders present at the Global Baku Forum represent the best and brightest of the next generation. Youth speak. We listen.
We have a big amount of youth who has great ideas to implement. And what we lack is interconnection between those policymakers who do make the decisions in the countries. And the forum is that platform, that place where all of these voices are actually interconnected.
I'm impressed by the leaders from all over the world to take the stage here at different panels. And I think Global Baku Forum is becoming one of maybe 3 most important global forums worldwide.
I have the privilege of presenting this evening the Nizami Ganjavi International Award 2024 to a German diplomat whose contributions to European safety and security have been lifelong and noted across the world. You can guess who it is. We're talking about Ambassador Wolfgang Ischinger.
I would love to accept this award also on behalf of all those who will hopefully commit themselves to rebuilding a sustainable and durable and reliable European security architecture free of military intervention and free of threats of force of all kinds. That's my hope, and thank you very much again.
May I call on Jean-Claude Trichet. He was one of the fathers of the euro, the people who believed that you could bring the countries together in Europe and create a unified currency for them. And against all odds, he succeeded. What can I say? Jean-Claude Trichet is a man like no other. Jean-Claude, we are very, very proud to have you with us today, and we would like very much to give you our highest award. If we may, President.
So thank you very much. I'm very impressed by the way the NGIC has, flourished marvelously, and having participated in this meeting, I am extremely impressed by the value added which comes from such extraordinary meetings.
Thank you so much for being with us all these 3 days, and for all your activities, participating in the discussions, and collaborating and dedicating your time to this international forum.
A fractured world is full of uncertainties, but mankind's desire to pursue peace is a firm certainty.
It is not idle to come together and chatter about ideas. It is fundamentally important that we do so. I thank you all for giving of your time, of your presence, of your friendship. Let us go out into the world with these new friendships that we have made here, and let us all imagine ourselves sailing away in a leaking boat that is our fractured world, and each of us can do our bit. We can bail out one spoonful, one cupful, one pailful, or we can fix the boat and make it watertight. There are different ways of doing it, and I wish you good luck with it.